packed on a Tuesday and delighted that you have chosen to get up with us. I'm Greeny. We are in Bristol, and there is a hint, maybe more than a hint, of optimism in the air about the return of sports on a variety of fronts. And we have them all covered for you in just a moment. But let's start with Get Up and Go. And it begins with a visit at the White House yesterday. Rockets team owner Tillman Fertitta said he believes the NBA will find a way to finish the 2020 season. He was there as part of a roundtable with restaurant executives, but again, it was an optimistic tone. To hockey, where the NHL has narrowed down its list to 8 or 9 sites if the league resumes play this summer. The NHL is working on a plan to host a dozen or so teams at select bubble sites and play multiple games per day. So they're talking about coming back. And then there's this. The governors of New York and California and Texas all announced yesterday that professional sports could resume in their states without fans in the near future. So they joined Florida and Arizona, who have recently opened their states for professional sports. And this is significant. Those 3 states are the most populated ones in America. So no surprise, a lot of teams could be affected. Among the 4 major sports leagues in America, as you see, 27% reside in those 3 states. You're talking Yankees, Cowboys, Lakers, and a whole lot more. So what does all of this mean? Let's start with baseball and bring in our Jeff Passan here. Jeff, what impact do you think these statements from these governors have on baseball's ability to move forward?
Well, Greeny, it certainly doesn't hurt baseball's efforts, but we also have to understand this is a multifaceted process. And as much as governors want to think that they've got the power to bring sports back in their state, it's going to be going through a couple different levels before we get those teams back. Remember, you've got local officials as well, like mayors and like city councils and all sorts of different politicians who can stymie those types of efforts. But even more, it's the local health officials, Greeny, who are going to be the ones to rubber stamp these sports coming back. They're going to look at the plans and the protocols that these leagues have in place and say, we believe that you are going to be safe for yourself and for the public, or we believe you are going to be a hazard and we're not going to allow you to play.
All right, now on baseball's side, they released a lengthy memo. It was some 67 pages about safety procedures and plans. I'm not expecting most of our fans to read all of it. So what are the most important things?
There's a lot in there, Greeny. And what it really comes down to is as much what you're not allowed to do as what you are. And this shows the lengths to which baseball is going to try and be thorough and get on the sides of those health commissions that are going to look at this document and say, okay, you're outlawing spitting, hot tubs, cold tubs, Gatorade jugs on the bench. Players aren't allowed to stand next to each other during the national anthem. You're suggesting maybe you guys don't even take showers post-game? Like, there's a lot in there. And listen, I think the shower stuff's going to go away. Players didn't take too kindly to that. But you need a document like this to start. And it was just a draft memo that they're getting feedback from Major League Baseball teams as well as the Players Association on. There's going to be some progress this week in this regard with health and safety. And I think that they can come to an agreement there. In the end, though, Greeny, it's going to come down to money with the players in Major League Baseball. And they are still at an impasse there at this point. Listen, they've got a couple of weeks, and once those couple of weeks are over, either they're going to be starting spring training in mid-June or they're going to be back at the drawing board, and that's a place where nobody wants to be right now.
I got you. So again, just to sort of wrap this up here in just a few seconds, the timetable is really rapidly approaching us, right? If they want to start spring training sometime in June, we're already getting to be in late May. How quickly do they need to move forward in an agreement here?
Yeah, this deal needs to be done with May still on the date. Like that, it's as simple as that. If you don't have that, then you will not have baseball in early July, starting off actual regular season games. You will not have spring training. There's so much logistically, Greeny, that needs to get done that this 67-page plan outlines. And whether it's physicians, whether it's teams, whether it's players, you need to have everything running as smoothly as possible if you want to hit those timetables.
All right, to have happen in May, then we're talking about less than 2 weeks. Today is the 19th. We'll see where it winds up. Jeff, awesome. Thank you very much. Let me turn my attention now to football, because there's huge news there. NFL teams can begin reopening their facilities today provided state and local governments allow. The commissioner sent a memo to all 32 teams over the weekend, allowing what they're calling soft openings 2 months after all team buildings were closed due to the pandemic. And we have Diana Rossini with us this morning as our insider. Diana, good morning. NFL camps start to open. What does that actually mean for all the teams?
Yeah, Greeny, this is really phase one. I wish I could have awesome news that says that the players and the coaches are all back in the building, but that is not the case. This is the softest of openings. I talked with teams that are opening the facilities like the Steelers, the Cardinals, and they're approaching this very, very lightly. We're talking salespeople, some communication directors, some cleaning service crews that are getting back in the building. And they all have to be on point with the state, local, and the NFL rules. So those people that are entering those facilities, they'll have their temperature taken, they'll have to wear a mask, and of course, social distancing. So really the big question right now is, when are the coaches and players going to be allowed back in? And right now, the league and the union reps are still trying to come up with a plan. But for right now, the only optimism now is you have strength coaches back in the building. It's going to be another, we'll say, few weeks here before we'll even know if players and coaches are going to be allowed in the building.
All right, so let's focus in on that again. A few weeks till we'll know if they're coming back. Are they anticipating having anything organized before training camps would be set to begin?
So as of right now, it's all just virtual, and the conversations being had with all the different organizations is what is going to be the smartest and also equal competitively. I know I spoke to some organizations on the West Coast. They had some ideas about maybe getting the coaches together, social distancing, whether that means in like a conference room or, meet at a hotel like we heard before the draft. If you remember, the Saints were going to meet at that brewery in New Orleans. But as of right now, the league isn't allowing that. We should know soon, and perhaps maybe they'll tamper with that or at least make some adjustments to that come June to maybe give those coaches those opportunities. But as of right now, everything is virtual.
All right, Diana, stay close by. We have a lot more to do with you as the morning continues. Bunch of other LFL news. But let me get to the NBA, because the Rockets and the Pelicans and the Clippers have now joined 14 other teams in opening up their practice facilities for individual workouts. And then we get to the main event, because last night on the uninterrupted YouTube channel, LeBron James spoke about restarting the season.
No, definitely not giving up on the season. Not only, myself and my teammates, the Lakers organization, we want to play. It's a lot of players that I know personally that want to play. As a fan myself, I know we all miss it. And I will be sitting here lying if I said we don't. We all miss the game of basketball, man. It's done so much for all. You're seeing it right now with The Last Dance. You're seeing it. It's firsthand of how the game of basketball just assembles everybody. So hopefully this 2020 season can continue sooner than later.
All right, so that's LeBron striking at least a hopeful tone. Here's Brian Windhorst. And Wendy, we have a lot to do with you this morning. Let's start with this. What sentiment are you hearing from players and officials around the league about the possibility of a return?
Exactly what LeBron just said. Everybody would like to make it happen, but there's still a little bit of a trepidation about how fast it's going to happen and what the path is going to be. Greeny, the NBA has been conservative throughout this entire process. They pretty much sat on the sidelines throughout April. When they got to May, they weren't even allowing anybody to get testing on their teams unless they were symptomatic. They have just begun to sort of wade into the water, getting facilities back open. And in talking to people at the league office and other people in the league, they want to watch what happens in this country over the next 2 weeks. Whether the states that have opened see good numbers, whether the states that haven't opened will open. We just had a big announcement from the governor of California and the governor of New York in the last couple of days about pro sports. If that continues to progress, I think by early to mid-June, you will see the NBA try to move forward and try to get a schedule together.
Yeah, we had New York, California, Texas, all of those suggesting that they can reopen for professional sports. How significant is that? What specifically does that mean to the NBA?
Well, first off, they've got teams in all of those states, so they need to have the support to actually get back to doing some sort of work there. Secondly, they may host games in some of these places. Florida coming out, their governor being first and announcing that we're open to pro sports. It is not a coincidence that Orlando has been mentioned as a possible place that the NBA could look at, creating a little bit of a quarantine zone. So they have to have the support of the health officials and the government before they even negotiate an agreement with their players. That's what's so difficult about all this, Greeny, is that they're not just battling the virus. That's their number one focus. But there's so many other layers they have to work through, which is why the calendar gets complicated pretty quickly.
Yeah, and so just to sort of put a ribbon on all of this here, give me a timetable again. Like you said, 2 weeks before they start really making hard, fast decisions?
The working order right now in the league, and I'm just going to qualify it by saying, look, this has always been a moving target, is that by early to mid-June, they will have a decision. We're either going to go or we're not. And if we are going to go, here's what a schedule might look like. I would say right now we're moving positively in that direction. But the NBA, again, keeping a close eye on those numbers every single day from Nate Silver and others, just like the rest of us.
All right. All I wrote down from that was moving positively in that direction. I will take it. I will take any ray of optimism that I can get. Stay close, Wendy, because I have a lot more to do with you, because LeBron had a lot more to say. We are just getting